This is Jonathan Agger, fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Gareth A. Davies. Gareth, last time I spoke to you was after Usyk Dubois and Pacquiao Barrios. How you been?
I'm very well, thank you. And there's been a lot of fallout from both of those events, hasn't there? In fact, the massive criticism of Daniel Dubois' performance and the gathering before and where Usyk sits in the all-time greats and should Manny Pacquiao have got the decision against Mario Barrios? I've watched the fight in detail. I thought he won it. But I think we'd be looking at Pacquiao Mayweather 2 right now if Pacquiao had won. They'd have been trying to scrape Mayweather out of retirement for a big second fight with Pacquiao, but I don't think that'll ever happen now.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I haven't spoke to you since the fallout of
Two
Usyk
weeks.
Dubois.
Yeah.
What did you make of all the criticism, the party? Are people just looking for something to blame, or is there a good point there?
Yeah, I think there was a bit of scapegoating going on. And, I mean, if you want to overly criticize Daniel Dubois' father, I think that's too much because he clearly loves his son and he's helped him all his life and he's taken him into a brilliant position at the age of 27 with huge riches already and a very decent career behind him. And he could easily win a world title again. He's just a particular type of fighter who is going to beat some people and not beat others. I refuse to call him a quitter. He's a guy that lives to fight another day, as we saw against Joe Joyce, and as we saw against Usyk the first time. He's just one of those guys. He was demoralised and beaten down by Usyk in that fight, who was absolutely brilliant. And I don't want to take any credit away from what Alexander Usyk did.
Hmm. Moving sort of on the same sort of track, but when we were in Istanbul, Tyson Fury was saying about coming back. Now he seems to have made this U-turn. He says, "Nah, never coming back." What do you think happens from now? Have you spoken to Spencer recently?
Well, I think obviously there were moves in the background when when we were in Turkey. Turkey Al Sheikh had spoken to Spencer Brown, spoken to Tyson Fury, and 3.5, 4 weeks on, it looks like we're further away from Tyson Fury coming back right now. Having said that, when he's out at Doncaster races, when he's at Donny Racecourse for the day with the family and the Gypsy King horse is running, you're not going to get him to commit to coming back. In the background, they're still trying to get him back. I personally think that a tune-up fight and Anthony Joshua should be the fights. He obviously wants to fight Alexander Usyk, but I still think that's potentially a way off, even though it's still a big commercial behemoth for them to meet for a third time. We've got the whole mix with Jake Paul and Nikita Bidarian and the talk of the Anthony Joshua fight that I don't agree with. I think it's too dangerous for Jake Paul. It's a step too far. It shouldn't be sanctioned. Tony Yoka on the horizon for Anthony Joshua. People are talking about Tony Yoka signing with Queensberry. Is that a sign of something that they're going to get that matchup made? That's my view. I'd like to see tune-ups for Joshua and tune-ups for Fury, them fight each other. And then if Fury comes through that, maybe an Usyk fight. But who does Usyk fight in the meantime? Is it Moses Itauma if he defeats Dillian Whyte? Is it too soon for Moses Itauma? Will late next year be too late for Alexander Usyk against Moses Itauma? The weird thing is we were waiting for the outcome of Usyk and Dubois to see where the tectonic plates would shift to with Joseph Parker and Ajit Kabayel as well. And the truth is, couple of, 17 days on, and we're still no closer to knowing what's happening next. Maybe we have to wait to see what happens between Moses and Dillian before we get that resolution. Certainly there'll be a lot of talks and a lot of moving and shaking next week from Riyadh with Frank Warren and George Warren over there and Turki Al Sheikh there. So maybe we'll get some kind of news out of it next week as well.
You looking forward to next week? You
Oh,
watching?
very much so. Yeah, main event's a great fight for Moses Itauma, a real mark of where he's at, and a mark of what Dillian Whyte's got left. Like many other people, I think Moses may be too much for Dillian, but it wouldn't surprise me if Dillian gave him a hard time either. But I've got Moses winning that fight. Obviously, that the card with Nick Ball and Sam Goodman. Just scribbled some notes here. Ray Ford in the late notice. Abraham Neuer. And also a fascinating fight. David Adelaide getting a chance against Filip Hrgović. If he can win that. And again, he's similar to Fabio Wardley, similar to Daniel Dubois, in that he's a big puncher and he needs to go out there and try and get his work done. Hrgović is a hard fight for him, but still a very, very intriguing contest.
Johnny Fischer just announced Tony Simpson as his new trainer after leaving Mark Hibbs. What do you make of that move?
Good move. Tony's a very wizened, very experienced veteran in the training game for fighters. It's close to home for Johnny. He's not going to have to go too far out into the further reaches of Essex to go training with Tony. I think they are two guys that will get on. Johnny needs to carefully curate his career at this point, recalibrate, try and work towards a British title. A very difficult night against Dave Allen. Needs to get his confidence back. So who he picks next, who his team picks for him, is a very important moment in his career. I do wish him well with it.
Hmm. Speaking of Dave Allen, he's announced he's going to fight Arslanbek Makhmudov. I mean, that's going to be must-watch TV, whichever way it goes. How do you see that one playing out?
I see Makhmudov as the favourite. I really want Dave to do well in that fight, though, and it leads to very big fights for him. I had him on TalkSport on Saturday night. He's in a great frame of mind. He's taking it all very seriously, training very hard. He's got the bit between his teeth under Jamie Moore, and he's a transformed character and a heavyweight. And even though he's very self-deprecating, there's an inner steel and inner confidence growing in him at the moment, I think, and that's as much for knowing that success against very big name opponents, and Makhmudov is one of those names, in spite of losing to Ajit Kabayel recently, projects him onto a much bigger plane, a much bigger horizon for himself as a fighter. And Dave's probably got 2 or 3 really good years ahead of him, but he's got his work cut out against Makhmudov. Comes forward, only knows to fight, but may suit Dave's attacks to the body. Kabayel's a big body punch, of course. Dave, who joked on Saturday, he's got arms like a T-Rex, needs to get on the inside and weather the early storm of Makhmudov and counter him really well. It's going to be a really good night, headlining in Sheffield. What an opportunity for Dave Allen.
Mm. They also had a press conference last week for Crook and Donovan. Same night as obviously Canelo and Crawford. Where are you going to be that night? Do you know yet?
I'm planning to be at Crawford and Canelo.
Mm.
It's a really, really big fight. I love the shape that Crawford's getting into at the moment. He looks ripped and ready for the fight. I still have days when I think he's going to out-finesse Canelo, but then I have days when I think Canelo's going to overpower Crawford and force him into a fight. At the moment, I'm just slightly leaning towards Crawford. I think it's going to be an enormous fight week. Turkey Al Sheikh and Ring Magazine will throw everything behind it. I think it's going to be an enormous event. And there's going to be a lot of kind of sideshows and a lot of people there. It's going to be a big boxing festival when that takes place on September the 13th. Obviously, Allegiant Stadium, it's going to be an amazing atmosphere. Cannot wait for it, to be honest.
Absolutely. On your TalkSport show with Sam Jones on Saturday, you asked him an interesting question about Boxer, because we still don't know what's going on with that, and he said that he would advise that the fighters under their stable to leave. What did you make of his comments? What do you make of the whole situation? Because there's no clarity yet, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, if as is being kind of talked about behind the scenes, and no secret the fact that there's talk about Boxer going to BBC iPlayer, It's got 9 million subscribers. It's a big platform. It's a good platform. If the BBC get behind the boxing and give it some projection, it's a good place to be. I think he needs to move with speed to announce that and keep the stable intact. Otherwise, your Callum Simpsons, obviously Joshua Buatsy's already gone to Queensbury. Adam Azim, Ben Whittaker, Callum Simpson, Caroline Dubois, Lauren Price, all these fighters who were given great projection on Sky Sports. And it's also interesting whether they're going to stay in boxing as well, which is a question mark. If he can announce that quickly, I'm sure he'll keep most of the stable intact. He did a very good job of developing a group of fighters. He's a very young promoter. There's still a lot of work to be done. But I think it's just that. He needs to move quickly, make the announcement, cross the T's, dot the I's, get the fight card sorted out, and he can continue to grow into the industry. It's been a tough time for him. Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn were always going to be difficult acts to follow on Sky Sports. Obviously, they've got their coalition at the moment as rivals as well as allies on DAZN. But if he can get onto the BBC iPlayer, it gives good competition. As we know, if we call it a terrestrial broadcaster, network TV, we know that Channel 4, Channel 5, ITV always did very well with the boxing. And even now the Wasserman shows do very well on Channel 5. So, onwards and upwards for him. I wish him well.
Lastly, you said you don't want to see Jake against Anthony Joshua, which I think most people would agree with, but it does seem like that fight is going to happen. I mean, they've had talks, Eddie and Nikisa. Do you think it is going to happen?
My instinct is they're teasing us. It will be an enormous fight if it happens because we'll all be rubbernecking because it's car crash fighting, it's car crash boxing. I wouldn't put it beyond the bounds of possibility that it will go ahead. My view journalistically is that it shouldn't. So I think there are too many risks involved here. You're putting a neophyte, a novice, in with a very big puncher and a dangerous finisher in a division that Jake Paul doesn't really belong in. Joshua's still a very dangerous, active heavyweight. I don't think it should go ahead. But if it does, we'll all be watching till the moment they walk to the ring, pinching ourselves to really wonder whether it's real. I don't think it should be sanctioned. But again, it would be such a big event commercially that someone would get behind it. Now, when I spoke to Jake Paul at the Dubois Usyk fight for TalkSport with the TalkSport microphone, he was looking around Wembley going, I want to fight here. It'd be the ideal place to do it if they do it. But I don't see the Boxing Board of Control sanctioning that myself. Do you think it's going to happen?
I mean, it does sound like they're talking. I mean, Nikisa said that he doesn't actually want it to happen, but he said that Jake wants it to happen, so they're going to press forward. So it does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, and unless Joshua really is going to fight Tony Yoka and do that tune-up and then go and head towards a Fury fight, my understanding is that the Saudi Arabians are behind that, and they are behind that fight happening. We know that from those conversations with Turki Al-Sheikh and Tyson Fury, so that's what I'd like to see happen, if I'm honest.
We'll wait and see. Gareth, appreciate your time. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your week before you head to Saudi on Sunday, Monday, whenever
Thank
you
you
head
very
there.
much.
And I'll
Great to
speak to
see
you
you and speak to you
later.
as always, my friend.